Hi, I'm Evie Kinsing, editor of IdentityWeek.net. Today I'll be talking to Ivy Fung, who's the Vice President of the Women in Blockchain Asia organization. They're a non-profit initiative um, establishing a new economy for women in Asia as leaders in the blockchain industry and technology fields. It's really great to speak to you today, Ivy. Um,
My pleasure. Hi, everybody.
Obviously, you're going to be attending Identity Week Asia, which is going to be happening on the 7th and 8th of November. How does Women in Blockchain Asia participate in the wider industry? And what do you hope to get out of the show in November?
Thank you for the questions. If you look at our motto here, empower and educate and enable, this is what we, as organizations, we want to promote for the women especially in the Asia regions. And what we hope to get out of or to also contribute to the Identity Week, this coming November. First, we would like to have more women to be able to speak their voice as well as like contribute their knowledge to this wide topic. Not only on the stage, but we also hope that we'll be able to talk to a lot of people on the floor. So to meet a lot of people, share of our ideas, and who knows what kind of ideas going to spark from there, right? So generally, we're really looking forward for that, and hope to see everybody there.
Identity Week is perfect for the networking. We've got a lot of attendees this year. How is that collaboration and that collaborative approach among the industry going to impact changes, in particular to blockchain standards and wider frameworks for technology, innovation, and diversity?
Um, I think when we're talking about like across the industry, a lot of times each industry would have their own standards. It would have their own way of operations. When it comes to collaborations between industry, sometimes there will be a challenge in terms of how this kind of standard can merge together. So this is one part that it's quite important as well as for blockchain. In blockchain, we do have some standard as we're talking about take for example a standard for the non-fungible tokens that we take on. Why we would need to have the standard that is easier for people to work across platform as well. So same goes for the industry. We are looking into have more standards so that the collaborations can be seamless. We don't have to take so much time about how that we can share the informations, how we can share the data, and how we can identify who is responsible in which area. So blockchain be able to do this when we have established the standard.
Perfect. And I want to delve into blockchain. Why is it easier to manage digital identities and vulnerabilities using blockchain through a decentralized identity management system?
Brilliant questions. Now, looking back to how the blockchain works, we always talk about blockchain as the is transparent and is immutable and also anonymous. Well, how that could be you can be transparent and anonymous at the same times, and how by this can help in managing the identity better. Now that in the architectures of the blockchains, there are different layers that certain informations that you can share at certain level. That is how depends on how you architect it. But then when it comes to talking about managing the identity, you know, all the transactions on blockchain, it can be traced. But whether you want to share who are making those transactions is another layer of security there. So that also help people to be able to uh, own their data without, if they do not want to release that information, who they are. So whatever information that people might have, they might know the history of whatever happens, but they do not know who make it happen. So this is just an example that how different layer or how differently the architecture of the blockchain would be able to help in terms of managing the identity better in a more secure way, but yet in a more secure and standard way.
Where does the APAC region stand compared to Europe and the Americas in blockchain innovation and inclusive engineering, which I know you look at a lot? Um, really, those ideas of diversity within STEM, diversity within the industry.
Um, I think for Asia or APAC region, technology is never like lack of innovations in this region. You can see that a lot of a lot of project actually also started from this region, and at the same time, if we look back, there is a lot of project also coming from like Europe and America, and I would reckon that is Europe or Americans side. They are more towards they are more uh innovative in terms of the idea of the project, and in terms of spreading it out to the market. Take for example, those days when I was studying in the US, we can always see that a lot of people in the US, they prefer to study something like marketing, they prefer to study something like a business. So they're very strong in terms of idea and bring in together with technology. So a lot of good use cases are actually starting from there, and you can see a lot of Asian students would like to study engineering and in terms of science uh, uh, science majors. So I would say that ideas and people working in the engineering or STEM in APAC region is getting more and more, and a lot more use cases are getting caught up looking at it in Asia, in South Korea, Japan, India. There are a lot of user on the blockchain or cryptocurrency.
Great. That leads me to my last question then. What does the future of identity and security management look like when we're if we leverage blockchain?
Um, I would say the future would be a lot more we don't have to take time to do much of audit, where this transactions is going to, who made the transactions, what's wrong, is happening, and from where the problems start, because all this information is traced and tracked on the blockchain and is immutable. You won't be able to change it. It's the matter of some forensic to get done. So other than being anonymous on the blockchain, I do think that one of the best use case for blockchain itself is to dox yourself, which is you make yourself known on this platform. So you create your credential, you create a credibility for yourself, so that you have identity in terms of whatever you do, whatever other or even payments or credential that you have. It gives you that kind of recognition that you speaks, your history speak for yourself. So that's how I see the future of the blockchain. It's so powerful, not only to make any transactions anonymous, but actually to make things known and trackable. Yeah, that's how I see the future of
Absolutely.
blockchain.
And the future is obviously privacy and having handling of your own data. Is
That's the sorry. That's the beauty of blockchain. You can have good level of privacy as well as credibility at the same time.
It's been a really fascinating conversation. Just before obviously the event in November, we'll be dealing with these topics in more detail. Um, just a reminder that's Identity Week Asia is on the 7th and 8th of November. Ivy will be joining us. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you for your time too.